Have you ever wondered why it seems like the narcissist wants you to leave? Like it seems like he wants you out of his life, but at the same time, he says he does everything to make you stay. Like he says he's willing to work on himself, he's willing to change, willing to grow, like all these things. You're like, wait a second, like doesn't make sense. Like he's saying all these things like and making me feel like he wants me to stay, but his actions seem completely different. I want to talk to you today that the narcissist in your life wants you to leave. He does. You just haven't heard that from him because he's unwilling to actually admit it. He's a coward and he's not a man to actually say the words, I want you to leave. We're going to talk about why and a couple different reasons of what's going on underneath the surface. If you guys are new here, my name is Ben Taylor. I'm a self-aware narcissist on this channel, helping people break free of narcissistic abuse. I do that by helping people rewire the story they believe, breaking them out of the trauma bond, the rumination, the things that have them obsessing and stuck in a toxic relationship, wondering, hey, I'm a smart person. Why am I falling for this toxicity? Why do I want to be with this person that's so negative, but it is hurting me, but I know it's not what I want, and it's back and forth. So if I can be of help, please go to rawmotivations.com and I'll try to work with you to help you break free and move forward in your healing. Part of the reason why I have this video of Narcissist Wants You to Leave is because this is very near to me. Several years ago, I was this person wanting my wife to leave, wanting to be free, wanting to turn it around on her, wanting to blame her, all these things, because I was like, how do I figure out how to get out of this without it making it look like it is my fault? And so we're going to talk about some of these in a couple different points, okay? And so number one is when you leave the relationship, it looks like you gave up. So the narcissist wants you to leave. He wants you to walk out the door first, because if you walk out the door first, then it looks like you're the one that gave up. And so like all the time, I would never leave the relationship. I never wanted to leave. I'd be like, this is the house that I'm in. This is where I have my work, like all this kind of stuff. So I'd like, why would I leave? Like I work in this town. I have this house. Like there's no friends or family here for you. So you could go back home, like all this kind of stuff. Like I wanted it to be my wife left. Because if I pushed her to the brink where she would actually leave, it would look like she gave up on me. Then I could be the victim. Then it wouldn't be my fault, right? Like even if I caused her to leave, the fact that she left meant that she gave up on me. She gave up on the relationship. She didn't actually care. She wasn't willing to invest time and energy into the relationship even anymore, even though she already had. But it didn't matter. All of this was in my mind, okay? Like in my mind of like, if I get her to leave, I don't have to feel bad because she gave up on me. Being able to turn around and feel like the victim. So this tactic shifts the blame onto you, makes you feel like you're the bad person, makes you feel like you're the bad guy, makes you like, it makes the narcissist seem like the victim that was trying to do their best. Like, oh, like he was trying, he was working on it so much and you left him. Like, how could you do that? That's the whole thought process. Like if you leave, then it's your fault. The narcissist wants it to be your fault. Okay, narcissist is not the one so far to take accountability, not taking responsibility, not actually taking accountability, responsibility for their actions, what they've done, what they've said. Instead, it's like, let's figure out how we can get you to leave. If we can get you to leave, then I don't have to feel bad about me. Okay, think of it this way, like you've been in this relationship for a while and he's constantly creating drama. He's constantly doing things to provoke arguments until you just can't take it anymore. Like you're going crazy. You're like, I need to get out of this. I have to leave. And when you finally decide to leave, he tells everyone that you were the one that abandoned the relationship, that it was your fault. Like he tells the kids this. He's like, yeah, mom just didn't want to work on this anymore. Like she didn't want to care. Like she doesn't care about you. She doesn't care about me. Like he'll twist everything around to make it look like it is your fault. Okay, playing the victim, looking like, oh, woe is me because you gave up. You left the relationship. You gave up on me. Narcissists want to be the victim so often so that they can continue moving forward in their life thinking, oh, it's not that big of a deal. It's not my fault. It had to be yours. So the second thing that a narcissist wants you to leave is because if he wants you to leave so that he can tell people that he tried. Okay, this is like a nuance of it, but it's a huge reality. So a narcissist wants you to leave so that when you leave, like you leave, you walk out, he can tell everybody else, like, I tried. Like, I really did. Like, I tried to work with her. I tried to get her to go to counseling. I tried to have us do all this kind of stuff, and she just wouldn't do it. Like, I don't know what's wrong. I don't know what's the matter with her. Like, I feel so bad. Like, they'll twist it so many different ways. There's so many different ways to be able to skin a cat, in one sense. They'll twist it so many ways to try to be able to convince other people that they're the victim and that they tried. And this is where you see different times when the narcissist tries at the very end of the relationship really quickly. Okay, where you get ready to leave and he's like, oh, but I love you so much. I want to do this. I want to do this. And you're like, you had 10 years to do all this and you chose not to. So why should I believe you now? But it's going to be different. I'm going to do better, different. I need you here. I need you to help support me as I go through this journey of me working on myself. He'll try to do all these things. Now, you need to understand at the end, when you're walking out the door, when you said it's over, when you filed for divorce, and all of a sudden there's this switch that changes, it's not because he got an epiphany. It's not because he realized. It's not because he knows. He already knew. He's just realizing that the manipulation that he has been doing for such a long period of time no longer is working, so he needs to change it. But at the same time, he still wants you to leave so he doesn't feel bad about himself. So, for instance, there would be times that my wife would pack up, would get ready to leave, and I would be like, no, please don't, please stay. And then she'd stay. And typically it'd get worse right then. And it'd get worse even shortly after, because when she would stay, in my mind, I'd be like, crap, like she was almost gone, and I almost tried to make it so I didn't feel bad about myself, and then she stayed. Now I'm still stuck. Now I'm not out of the relationship. Now I still have to deal with her. Like, this is the thought process. Like, I'm saying in a way to try to help like wake people up, because like this was not a good thing at all. Like, but this was the thought process. This was like the depths of where my mind was going, of like, let me try to say something to like win her back so that I feel good about myself. But then when she actually stayed, I was like, crap, now I can't do what I want. But the whole goal was when she walked out the door and I said, no, please stay. Then I could tell people, I tried to get her to stay. I begged for her to stay. I told her I told you could work on this, all this kind of stuff. Okay. So they'll do different things to make it look like there's efforts. Like they've tried to make this work. They've tried to avoid looking like the one who walked away. Like, it has to be you. So like, you might have your husband who rarely contributed to your relationship, didn't really involve himself at all with the kids, didn't really show up at all, like anything, just like came home and that was it, but like does all these things, but then suddenly decides, oh, I'm going to go to therapy right as you decide to leave. The whole goal is then, oh, I look good because I'm trying. You still left me. You still abandoned me. Then he tells friends and family how he tried to save his marriage, when in reality, he did nothing to save his marriage. He was just trying to appear a certain way. Okay. Now, all this kind of culminates with the third aspect of like you leaving, and the narcissist wanting you to leave means he doesn't have to look like the bad guy for leaving. Now, let's just face the elephant in the room. Okay. Most narcissists are cowards. Period. Okay, most narcissists don't have the balls to actually look you in the face and say, hey, I'm leaving, I no longer care about you, and we're done. Okay, now, all narcissists? No, because there's a lot of narcissists that do that. Especially covert narcissists won't actually do that a lot of times. They will stay, okay, because they have this fear of being perceived as being the bad guy, of looking bad, of having their image lowered and not looking as good as what they actually should be. So it's like, I don't want to appear or look like the bad guy. So by pushing you to like leave, by trying to get away from it, they avoid taking the initiative on their side of actually them saying something or doing something or changing something. And they avoid working on like, well, let me not tarnish my self-image. I don't want to look bad. I'm not that guy. Like, I'm like the good guy. Okay. Like, this is what happens. And so a lot of times you're going to see a narcissist that keeps up a certain image, a facade, or we talk about the mask of like, I'm a good person. I'm a good guy. Did your narcissist even tell you that? Like, if you did, it might be just another red flag for you, because you'll have people that will literally tell you, I'm a good person. I'm a good guy. And you're just like, if you have to tell me, then there might be something else going on here. Red flag, let's wave it. Let's understand where we are. Let's get out of the relationship. Like, you need to understand, a lot of times they'll try to be justifying it. Now, some people will be like, but what if I am the good person? Okay, if you're the good person, you don't have to convince other people of it. Okay? Because I've had comments before that someone's like, well, but I am the good person and I say these things, and now am I the bad person? I'm like, no. If you're the good person, you're the good person, but you shouldn't have to convince other people that you're the good person. A narcissist has to convince you that they're a good person because they're abusing you at the same time. Okay? So, side note, side rant. Okay? So, you might have this place where your partner cheats consistently, repeatedly. But when you confront him, they tell you to leave if you're not happy. Well, if you don't like it, you can just go ahead and leave. Like, it's not that big of a deal. This way, he avoids the guilt of ending the relationship while still pursuing what he wants. Narcissist can have his cake and eat it too, and then be the victim if the cake decides to leave. Like, you need to understand, like, he's looking at, like, well, if you're not happy, then just leave. That is all because he doesn't want to feel bad. At that point, if you can do it safely, leave with all the bells and whistles and just shine a big spotlight on everything that's happening and just run for the hills, okay? But do it safely and be careful. But like, you need to understand, like, he's going to want to push you to a place where you're the one that leaves. That way, he doesn't have to feel bad. So let's review real quick to have you understand these 3 main points, okay? The narcissist wants you to leave because when you leave, it looks like you gave up and he feels better about himself. Number 2, he can tell people that he tried and he feels better about himself. And number 3, he doesn't have to look like the bad guy by leaving, so he feels better about himself. Do you see a trend here? Like, the narcissist wants you to leave so that he can feel better about himself. He can continue to be a coward, continue to do the things that he wants to do, continue to be a liar. And at the end of the day, you to be free, you just need to leave.